Good evening, and thank you for inviting us to be part of this commemoration. I'm here to talk a little bit about Amnesty International. Amnesty is an organization that is made up of volunteers, of people around the world. We're about 2 million people on the planet. We are not represented by any governments or supported by businesses. It is only by volunteers. In Canada, there are about 70,000 people. In 1948, the United Nations came up with the International Declaration of Human Rights, in which all countries in the world acknowledged and agreed to it, but unfortunately most countries don't adhere to it. And so now Alan is going to speak more specifically about what happened 26 years ago. Thank you.
Amnesty International is based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And Amnesty's vision is that everyone, everywhere, will live enjoying all the rights enshrined in that document. The massacre of thousands of Sikhs in Delhi in 1984 and the subsequent lack of holding those responsible violates about 50% of the articles in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Over the years, Amnesty International has repeatedly called for the Indian government to end impunity for the perpetrators of the violence and bring them to face trial for their crimes. Amnesty has denounced the torture, deaths in custody, extrajudicial killings and disappearances, and threats against the human rights defenders and witnesses such as Jaswant Singh Kalra, Kuldeep Singh, Kikar Singh, and others. It is a national disgrace that India has failed to bring justice to the victims and their families. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has 30 articles in it. The Delhi massacre violates about half of them. Among the first is the right to life. Need I say more about how this article was violated? Other articles state that everyone is free and should be treated in the same way, and that everyone is equal, despite differences in gender, religion, race, and the list goes on. These rights were abandoned as Sikhs were singled out for assassination. Another article in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that no one should have to endure torture or inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. In fact, the international human rights law states specifically that a whole community must not be punished for the actions of a few. Another article says that no one should be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. What were authorities thinking as they rounded up human rights defenders and witnesses? Everyone is entitled to a fair and public trial, and everyone has the right to be innocent until proven guilty. Instead of investigating and bringing to trial anyone who might have been behind the assassination of Indira Gandhi, there was instead a call to murderous action. No investigation, no trial. Another article says that you can ask for help if you are being harmed. This was clearly violated, as we've heard several times already this evening, as police stood by doing nothing, as Sikh men were dragged from their homes and murdered. Other pertinent rights include the right to work in fair and safe conditions, to medical help, to freedom of religion, opinion, and expression. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights finishes with two fundamental rights. Everyone must respect the rights of others, and no one has the right to take away any of the rights in the Declaration. The Delhi massacre very clearly violates these final two rights. The fact that there have been 9 commissions of inquiry to date is outrageous. That these commissions have gotten bogged down in red tape and what we might call filibustering is itself a national disgrace. Even if a commission of this nature were completed with recommendations, the results are not binding. Only public pressure makes them public, and they do little to provide redress to victims and their families. The fact that no one has been brought to trial is, according to a public statement, offensive to any notion of justice, and should be an embarrassment to the Indian government. Amnesty International believes that ending impunity for past abuses is critical to improving the justice sector and addressing communal violence. And now, 26 years and 9 commissions of inquiry later, Amnesty International calls for the Indian government 3 things they're asking. 1, reopen each case. 2, properly investigate the cases. And 3, bring justice and closure to victims and survivors. Amnesty International demands that the neglect stop and that the CBI do a thorough and proper investigation and then make everything public in a free and open trial. It is only then that the victims and families can feel that their rights have been recognized. It might also mean a true end to communal violence and to India's many peoples living together in harmony and justice.